I'm going to demo the real-time monitoring feature of MaxGauge for Oracle. After logging in, launch the real-time monitor, and you will see the screen shown here. As for the screen layout, at the top of the screen, there is the Connection Manager, which manages the connection information. Then, you will see an icon for real-time monitoring. We will talk about this in a while. Then, there are the Trend View, RAC View, and Single View. The Trend View allows you to perform simultaneous monitoring for multiple databases. We call this multi-instance. Then, there is the RAC view. RAC is commonly used for mission-critical tasks. The RAC view provides functions that are specialized for RAC monitoring. The Single View provides functions for intensive monitoring of a particular database. I will go over the details of each view in a moment. The Performance Analyzer button allows you to jump straight into the Performance Analyzer screen. I will also talk more about the Performance Analyzer later in the session. Now, back to the real-time monitor. Look at the menu on the right side. There are the tools and the docking frame. While the tools function as a separate window, the docking frame provides functions that you can dock and use in the Trend View, RAC View, or Single View. The Configuration button at the bottom takes you to a screen where you can configure various settings, a wide range of management functions, such as instance management. Account management, alert management, and SMS management are provided. Now, let's go back to Trend View and look at the layout. On the left, there is a navigation panel. You see two ratio buttons at the top. If you select instance name, a list of instance names appears. DBAs will usually be familiar with instance names, but most administrators would prefer business names, such as Internet Banking or Core Banking, which are more intuitive. In that case, you can click the business name button, which brings up the business names. You can enter business names when you register instances at the configuration screen you saw a while ago. The navigation panel allows you to view the full instance list or view instances by their groups. Right now, all instances belong to the default group. This kind of group settings can also be configured at the configuration screen. Let's add a group. For instance, you can add except group 1. and add instances to this group. At present, we are monitoring 4 instances in the default group. You can collapse or expand the menu like this. In the navigation panel on the left, you can see Lock. Lock is a very important element of monitoring. The number you see in Lock indicates the number of sessions waiting for lock. You can also see the alarm count. When the alarm section turns red, you can click here to bring up a pop-up window. That is the same as the alarm log history showing on the right. You can view the history of alarms in the last 10 minutes, the warning count, and the critical count. You can check whether the selected alert is an Oracle alert or table space usage. You can also find out daemon side problems, such as DB down, listener down, or MaxGauge demo down. Then there is the stat, which shows the number of times thresholds were exceeded for items with thresholds under OS stat, DB stat, or wait event. The other sections shows other alarms such as disk usage and DB warning. The bottom section shows the current status. Because normal alarms are entered in the stat section, the alarm is cleared as soon as a normal alarm is entered. But in the case of table space, normal alarms are not entered. Therefore, alarms remain here for 10 minutes. You can use the grid view to have a better overview of the alarm history. You can click any data on the log column for details. The screen has been designed to monitor all elements required for DBMS performance management. In general, DBMS performance management requires monitoring of key OS-level resources of the DBMS, as well as the DBMS itself. For this reason, we place the CPU and memory monitor functions at the top. Let me tell you what this means. When all is selected, we monitor both CPU and memory. You can also choose to monitor CPU only or memory only. Or, in the CPU section, you can click the Oracle CPU button. To view the OS CPU usage, split into CPU usage by Oracle session and CPU usage by ordinary processes. The principle is simple. CPU usage by Oracle session is shown by one of the Oracle performance indicators called CPU used by this session. Let me show you what happens when we switch to this indicator. The first instance shows 170 seconds, meaning it's been used the CPU for 1 second. Combine this indicator with the CPU count, CPU usage by Oracle session is calculated. You can choose whether to indicate IOA CPU for CPU monitoring. Most of the frames in MaxGauge offer top-down sorting to facilitate quick diagnosis of problems at peak times. Let's take CPU as an example. If you want to know which processes are using most of the CPU resources, you can click to list up the processes that are using a lot of CPU resources. The top processes frame shows processes by their processes IDs. If the selected process is an Oracle session, the SID information would appear in the SID column. Therefore, you can use this session to tell whether the current CPU overload problem is caused by an ordinary process or an Oracle session. If it's an Oracle session, you can click the SID to open the session details pop-up window. Using the session details, you can perform a very in-depth session-level analysis. The Sigma tab shows the total workload and wait time of the session to date. The Delta tab shows the wait time and workload performed in SQLs, model names, and execution times between refreshes. It also shows that wait events are currently on standby and what SQLs are being performed. The Execution Plan tab shows the runtime execution plan. The Bind tab offers 3 tabs. SQL Monitor provides real-time bind information provided in the v$SQL monitoring view. This is offered on 11G or above. This view is available only to those who have purchased the Oracle Performance Pack. The system validates the license and enables the view only if the Performance Pack license is found. Generally, queries with execution duration of 5 seconds or longer and the parallel queries have their bind values added to this view. So you can check them here. Bind capture fetches data based on SQL ID performed in the v$SQL band capture view. So what is SQL with bind SQL? Bind values are provided as applied to the original SQL. This is quite useful when you are retrieving data for testing purposes. In the Session tab, you can view basic information on sessions. The SQL Used tab shows the history of SQL executions after the session details pop-up window was opened. You can double-click here to open SQL details pop-up window. The SQL details window fetches data based on the current v$SQL. As you can see, the window offers a wide range of performance data. Similarly, execution plan information and bind information are provided. In addition, once you identify a problematic session, you can use the session kill function to kill the session, because killing a run session can be a serious problem. There is a pop-up window where you can check the current session information. Furthermore, if you want to tune the session by the settings up 10046 traces, you can do so by clicking the Trace On button, and then selecting levels 1, 4, 8, and 12 for each level. After setting up the traces, you can also disable the traces. Now, if you look at top, you can see that the Active tab offers information on CPU, logical read, physical read, video entry, executions, and wait time. The CPU and other tabs provide comparisons of system-level and session-level data. In other words, it can see the extent of current session in the overall perspective. And here is a little function tucked away from everything else. Right-clicking brings up a screen that gives you an overview of all the items showing at the top. So that's it for session details. Now, if you click the memory section, you will see a list of processes that are using the memory a lot. Here, you see that DB write is using about 7G. But you need to be careful when analyzing this kind of information, because SGA is included in the size of article-related processes. In addition to OS level monitoring, also important is monitoring of DBMS level activities. For instance, how many of the connected sections are actually active? How many are actually running? And how many memory IOs and disk IOs are generated by running SQLs. This kind of workload trend information provided by Oracle needs to be monitored. The default layout allows you to monitor 6 indicators simultaneously. This frame includes functions which have been used commonly since early versions of MaxGauge. In addition to these existing functions, we have added a host of other functions. For instance, you see 6 indicators now, but you can also remove or add more indicators. Take a look at the display options at the top. You can monitor up to 4x4 indicators. It can change the color of each instance or adjust the line thickness. Let's try and select 3x3 so we can monitor 9 indicators. Like this, you can monitor 9 indicators simultaneously. You can also click the scale up icon to monitor data more conveniently on the dashboard. Clicking the scale down icon restores it to the previous state, while the data is provided as trains. You can also switch to bar graphs. You can change the whole thing into bar graphs. MaxGauge can provide names and filters for each instance using legends. The legends are disabled by default because the legends take up a lot of screen area once enabled. But you can turn it on as well for your monitoring. You can also move the legends down. Let me turn the legends off again. You can also change performance indicators that you wish to monitor. MaxGauge provides all performance indicators and weighting indicators provided by Oracle, as well as key OS performance indicators. Because there are two main indicators, there is a search function. One great advantage is that it's easy to view the history of each indicator. The trend chart also offers a top-down function. For example, which session is generated the most logical reads right now? You might wonder. In this case, you can double-click anywhere on the box to bring up a top session pop-up window. When the legends are off, it looks like this, with the instance list on the left. By selecting an instance, you can see the list of sessions running in that instance. Similarly, by double-clicking a session, you can monitor the session using the session details screen I showed you earlier. At the top of the top session window, you can see alarms. This allows you to set sessions level alarms. For example, if you want to monitor sessions with 10,000 or more blocks of session logic reads, configure like this and select Auto Refresh to highlight the sessions red. You can use this as an option to make your session level monitoring a little more convenient. 3 frames are provided for session level monitoring. The Trend View initial screen offers 3 components that you can use for session level monitoring. The log waiting session count not only tells you the number of sessions waiting for log in each of the current instances, but also gives you a quick overview of the log waiting time for each session. By default, it's divided into 4 levels: less than 5 seconds, less than 10 seconds, less than 60 seconds, and 60 seconds and more. The color also changes according to the levels. This screen shows that one session in the first instance is waiting for log for 60 seconds or more. Click the corresponding bar and you are taken to the log tree. Using the log tree, you can see the precedence relationships of the log as well as the log's holder and its queue executions. Double-click like this, and you can see the corresponding session details. Now, your work environment may require you to use different time settings like this. In that case, you can click the option button and set it to 2 hours. Only those that are 2 hours and more are highlighted red. Changing to grid mode, you can see that there's one less than 7,200 seconds, with a max wait time of about 2,400 seconds. You can see that here. The long active session count is similar to log waiting session. There are 4 levels as you see: less than 3 seconds, less than 10 seconds, less than 15 seconds, and 15 seconds or longer. Just like the log waiting session count, you can use the options to change the settings. Here, you can see that there are 3 sessions that are 15 seconds or longer. Click here, and you are taken to active sessions frame. So, you can easily identify which of the active sessions have long elapsed time. Similarly, double-clicking this gives you more information on the corresponding session details. The active session frame is located at the bottom right. Let me pull it out and show it to you. One important thing for session level monitoring is that a wide range of session level information is provided to help you with comprehensive monitoring. MaxGauge provides 20 or 30 different types of key information per session. By default, we give you the general information such as schema, machine, program, module, and ISID. Also provided are execution time, OS level CPU usage per session. Currently waiting wait events, currently running SQL executions along with their workloads. We monitor individual sessions. You can use this current mode. For example, if active sessions are surging at a particular point in time, you might want to find out which schemas, modules, programs, or SQL surge and how their portions changed. In that case, you can switch to the summary mode. Which provides grouping by schema, program level, module, and SQL level grouping information. For example, you can see very clearly that there are 25 active sessions in a module called New Order. You can also see the amount of SQLs running currently. The first SQL is undergoing the most executions. By grouping active sessions, MaxGauge allows you to analyze causes of the problem more easily, one level higher up. At the top, you can see the SQL elapsed time with frame. The SQL elapsed time frame offers details on individual SQLs. Each dot here represents execution history of an individual SQL. The algorithm works by stamping a dot at the SQL elapsed time when the SQL execution ends. For example, the dot above indicates SQL elapsed time of 200 seconds. The one below is SQL elapsed time is 100 seconds. This gives you an overall SQL performance distribution. The recently registered SQLs are highlighted as dots. Deviations in position occur because the information is based on the server time. It would mean that each server has different timing. You can also choose to view a particular instance or filter schemas, programs, or modules. Here in Option, you can choose to show or hide programs or modules. Normally, it is more convenient to show programs or modules. But on some sites, you might have tens of thousands of modules. Showing that many modules could create memory problems. So in such cases, we recommend turning this function off. Turning it off hides the information like this. You can use set max value to fix the y-axis. Once you fix the value, say at 100, the number of SQLs exceeding 100 is 11. You can also see that the max elapsed time is 196 seconds. Clicking here does nothing in the current version. But in next version, clicking this will give you an overview of corresponding information. You can also enlarge the dots like this. You may need to view the history of SQL executions at each dot. Just drag it, and you can see the corresponding SQL information. You can see which session was used and how long elapsed time was. Double-click this and you can see the SQL execution history. That's it for the basic demo of the trend view. Let me tell you one common thing for the dockings. When you add a component, you see two icons. Clicking the left button detaches it. And double-clicking the title returns it to the previous position. If you wish to dock it somewhere else, click the title button and drag it to view available docking positions. Left, top, right, bottom, in the middle if you are using the tab format. Like this, you can dock anywhere you wish. So, that's all for the default view. In addition to default view, we provided another view called Expert View. Click Expert View and click the Load button. Then, the Expert View screen appears like this. You can see the components that are quite similar to the ones before. But one difference here is that detailed CPU and memory information is showing at the top. Also, the Use Animation option here lets you decide whether bars should be drawn from 0 or indicate just the changes. Click Expand View to expand it outward. At the top, you can see a new component called Total Weight. As experts are used to doing their analysis based on orbital weight events, this information is provided here. You can see the total weight and weighting event trends per instance. You can also see which weight events are causing problems in instance with the longest wait time. For example, DB file sequential read in the first instance has a very long wait event time. You can view this kind of information. Here, clicking the bar graph gives you a view in the perspective of orbital weighting classes. Here, the first instance has long wait time in the user I/O class and the configuration class. This allows you to do your analysis one level higher up with greater ease. You can also turn the legends off. In Expert View, a wide range of session information is provided across the bottom. The 24-hour trend view gives you trends of major stats for the last 24 hours. Trends are based on 10-minute intervals. You can switch the stat of your choice. What is the 24-hour trend of the CPU at the OS level? You might want to know that. And at the bottom, there are 4 buttons labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can use this to save the screen. For example, if you monitor the lock tray frequently, you might want to dock the lock tray like this and save the screen layout so that you can access it anytime you want. In that case, you can click 1, enter a name, like My Layout 1, and click Save. The screen layout is now saved. You can now go through many different views and then load the screen layout to use it anytime. That's going to do for us about the trend view.